All right, guys, welcome to Introduction to Autodesk Inventor Part 1 by Mr. Mayor. All right. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to go through just opening Autodesk Inventor, creating an IPT file, which is a part file. We're going to create a 2D sketch. We're going to go over some sketching planes, the Viewcube, navigation around the screen. We're going to go through 3 commands today: line, rectangle, and extrude, which is join and cut. And there's 2 ways to do that. And then we're going to go over the project browser. Okay, so today, really simply, what we're going to do is we're going to make a cube with a hole in it. Simple. All right. So first thing, opening up Autodesk Inventor. Right on your screen, you're going to have an icon somewhere that looks like this orange guy right here. When you double click that, only do it one time, right? Then Autodesk is going to open. Remember, it's a large program. So if it takes a couple minutes to open, it might just take a couple minutes to open. Right? Just let it work. All right. So the first thing you see when you open it up is you're going to have this kind of navigation pane in here. Just X that out. We don't need any of that stuff in there. What we need right now is you need to know the basics of this the screen you see. Top left is what's called the application menu, and it's located by the big I. If you click that, you can get basically everything you want to start with. New, open, if you want to manage some things. You notice that I have a whole bunch of files ready to go just because I've been working with Autodesk, all right? But the general rule of thumb in Autodesk Inventor is if you're looking for something to do, start with the top left. Okay, start with the top and left. All right. So if we go over here to new, we hit new. Window's going to pop up. We're going to have a whole bunch of options. There's English, metric, mold design, all this extra stuff that can happen. We're just going to stick exactly the way it is. Don't touch anything. We're going to click on standard IPT, and then we are going to hit create. All right. There's a couple different things that we're going to go over later on in the course. Assemblies, drawing files, presentation files. But for right now, hit standard IPT. Please do not hit sheet metal. That's a different thing. Standard IPT, and then hit create. Let it work for a minute. It's going to pop up with a blank pane like this. Okay, kind of a gray gradient screen. All right, first thing I want you to notice is our top panel, or our panels, changed. All right, the ribbon changed. Right now we got a whole bunch of stuff we can do. All right, so check our little agenda here. We opened it up. We opened Autodesk up. We created an IPT, a part file. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a 2D sketch. All right. In order to do that, what you do, just like I said before, you start in the top left. So up here, it's going to say start a 2D sketch. There is a drop-down menu where it's 3D, but for right now, we want to go 2D. So once you hit 2D sketch, it's going to bring up this kind of crazy screen. What these are your drawing or your sketching planes. All right. There's 3 of them that you start with. Right. Basically, there's only 3 of them. We're just going to move them around later on in the course. You have the XY plane, you have your YZ plane, and then you have your XZ plane. All right, depending on what you're building, that's what plane you want to select, right? So you're going to build off of the plane. So imagine these being like your sheet of paper that you're going to draw on. Okay, so imagine each one of these is a sheet of paper that you're going to draw on. So I'm just going to click the XY just for now. Right, you notice that I have this big crosshair in the middle of the screen. That's called the origin. We want to stick to that as best we can. Okay, first thing we're going to go through, really simple. Oh, actually, let's double check the agenda. Right, sketching planes. Oh, excuse me, we've got to go through the view cube first. All right, so if you look in the top right of your screen, you notice that there is this square. If you hit the corner of the square, you notice that our origin changed and the square also changed. Right, so this is what's called the view cube. Okay, so if you click on different things, it's going to bring you to different views that you can either look at an object or you can draw an object. Okay, another kind of interesting thing that you see, when you notice that when I click down, you see that little hand with the arrows. What I'm doing is I'm clicking the roller on my mouse in, and I can move the screen around. That's kind of a little quick thing, a little quick pan. The other way you can do it is if you click right here on the right side where it says pan, you click on that, it gives you that little hand, and you could do it just with the mouse click. Okay, so that's the way you do that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to create a simple square or a simple rectangle with lines. So you're going to hit line. We're going to hover over, and you notice that this yellow dot pops up. Right, that's what happens. I'm in a command right now. You notice also there's the XY coordinates that tell me where I am on the screen. Now I'm going to hover over the origin, and notice that that dot snaps to the origin and it turned green. Right, so it tells us now that you're snapped to, that you're connected to that origin. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click, and I'm going to drag. So you notice that now I'm creating a line, and the screen gives me 2 measurements. It gives me a length measurement and it gives me a degree measurement based off of the origin. So this is kind of cool. You can either click and click again, or you can just type in, let's say I want to make this a half an inch long. I type in 0.5 on my keyboard, hit enter, and it automatically makes a line, and I'll zoom in a little bit. It automatically makes a line that is 0.5 long, right? So if I want to make one that's 0.5 across, now you notice that I'm still in line command. If I wanted to get out, I would just hit the escape key, or I would right click and hit cancel or escape. Right click, hit cancel or escape, right? So I'm gonna make a cube, or I'm gonna make a square, excuse me. So I'm gonna hold my line all the way to the right. You notice that it says 90 degrees on the bottom there. And I'm gonna type in 0.5. And I'm gonna hit enter. And I'm gonna do the same thing. Go down and notice that that line snaps to the origin, or snaps to that horizon line. But I'm still gonna type in 0.5 just to be sure. And then as I bring this back over to the origin, it goes to green and snaps to it. So I'm just gonna click. And then I don't have that line command anymore because I've completed my shape, right? So if I want to get out of the line command, I just hit escape. And now I have this nice 0.5 inch cube, or I have this, or excuse me, this square. So I can click and drag this in if I want to, or if I want to make it closer, things like that. All right, but I have this nice square. Okay, so after you finish a sketch, or after you finish a drawing, what you're going to do is you're going to come up here to the right and hit finish sketch. Only when you're done with that particular drawing will you hit finish sketch, right? Because when we hit finish sketch, we'll be able to get into some different commands and different things, okay? So if I hit finish sketch right here, boom, you notice that my view cube changed. Now I'm in the top right, or I'm in the corner here, like isometric almost, and I can see this shape in a different light. I kind of see it a little askew, a little distorted, because I'm looking at it 3D. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the home key up here, and that's going to bring me back to a true isometric view. All right, so there's my square right here. Okay, really simple. What we're going to do now is we're going to give it some depth. We're going to give it 3D. All right, we're going to make it 3D. So once again, if you want to do something in Inventor, you want to start in the top left. Extrude command up here. Or if you hover over extrude command, it gives you a little blurb about what it does. So what we're going to do is we're going to click it, and you'll notice that I have a dialog box that pops up. I have this little movable quick box that pops up, and my cube, or my square, already extruded, or already came out and became 3D. Okay, so this quick box and this dialog box, they do the same thing. So if I were to go into here where it says distance, and I were to type 0.5, you notice that it changes also in this little quick box. Okay, also what you should notice is you can't select any of these three right here. Right? The reason you can't select any of these three is because you can only create or only join an extrusion when you're making it the first time, and you're going to get that in a second. Okay, so that's really simple extrusion. One other thing you should know, or excuse me, two other things is you can change your direction. So you have direction 1, which is toward us, direction 2, which is away from us. You have symmetric, which will split the difference, and then you have asymmetric, which you can decide. So if I flip this and hit direction 2, notice that the cube changes, right? Back to direction 1, flips. If I go asymmetric, it splits between the sketch. Right? If I go asymmetric, or this, excuse me, that was symmetric. If I go asymmetric, it pops up a second distance that I can then change. And let's say I want it to be 1.25, right? I can make the second distance much farther away. So there's a couple different ways you can do things, right? So we're just going to stick to direction 1 for now. I'm going to hit OK. And now I have a cube ready to go. Simple, easy, straightforward. Okay, let's check our agenda really fast. So we did through some Viewcube, we did some navigation, we did line. Now what we're going to do, we did extrude, we did join, but we're going to do that one more time. We're going to do rectangle, and also we're going to create another 2D sketch. All right, so go back to Inventor. What I'm going to do now, I want to create a hole, or excuse me, a rectangle that cuts through this shape. I want this shape to be almost like an empty cardboard box or something, where you can see right through it. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit, once again, start a 2D sketch. And now you notice if I hover over my cube, I can select a side of the cube. That's what's going to allow you to create sketches on top of shapes, right? So you can make compound shapes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this side, and my screen is automatically going to pull it over and make it a flat surface for me so I can sketch. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit the rectangle key. We did line before. I'm going to hit rectangle, and this is what's called a 2-point rectangle, so we're going to start with that. I'm going to select it, and I'm just going to randomly make a rectangle inside, just like that. After I'm done, I hit escape to get out of the rectangle command. You notice that I can select each line if I want. I can change these if I wanted to. I could delete them, really simple, okay? But I want to keep it the way it is right now. And I'm going to hit finish sketch. All right, now what I can do is, once again, top left to extrude, I'm going to hit extrude, and then notice that these 3 options now pop up. So what I can do is join, which is adding a shape to this cube that I have, or I could cut, which is going to cut into the shape. So if I select this, notice that it turns red and it cuts right in, right? It gives me a way to see right through it, which is kind of cool. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit OK to show the cut. And this is permanent now. Well, not permanent. We can change it, but it shows that we can see right through this cube, right? So that's extrude cut, right? Really simple, really straightforward, easy stuff. Okay. Checking back. We did extrude join, extrude cut. We did our sketching planes. We did 2D sketches. We did Viewcube. The last thing we're going to do is our project browser. What that is, really simply, is the left side of the screen. Right? You notice that on the left side you have this kind of running list, and as I do certain things, it adds to the list. Okay, so my part right now is just called part 2. If I hover over that part, it selects the whole entire shape. If I hover over just extrusion 1, it selects just what I did in that command. If I hover over extrusion 2, it selects just what I did when I did extrusion 2. If I open these up, I have this sketch 1, which shows me my original sketch, and I have sketch 2, which shows me how I did the second sketch. Right? If I ever wanted to edit these things, I could just right click, like if I wanted to make the cube a little bigger, right click sketch 1, hit edit sketch, and it brings me back to my original sketch. Right, let's say I wanted to, and you could always just click on dimensions, double click. Let's say I wanted to make this 1 inch. Hit OK. Right, make it really weird looking. That's fine. Hit finish sketch, and it automatically updates using the extrusion that I did before. Right, let's say I wanted to edit the extrusion. Let's say I wanted to edit this one and say right click, edit feature. And let's say I wanted to make it 0.25. A little smaller, and I hit OK, right? Automatically updates and changes what I've done. Okay, so that's your project browser. This is going to be really, really useful when you're trying to find mistakes in your part. You're trying to find mistakes in your drawings. It's going to be something that really, really helps you. All right, so that's the simple intro. We went through a couple commands. The best way that I found to use Autodesk Inventor, the best way I found to learn, is by just doing it, right? So we are, right after this video, you're going to get into Introduction to Autodesk number 2, and it's going to show you how to start your first real shape and the first kind of kickoff to your first Autodesk Inventor assignment. All right, that's it.